Okay, this is 5-15. We're talking about evaluating statements, qualities, like this one with an equal sign, and inequalities. Just for fun, we're doing it with fractions. Right? First off, we evaluate 2/3 for x equaling 1/2. That means we take this x and make it into 1/2. That means it's 2/3 times 1/3, because every time you have any number, fraction or not, next to a variable, that means that you are multiplying. So 2/3 times 1/2 is equal to 2/6 technically, but they simplified it to 1/3. Then you take that same x and you multiply, you evaluate it for 1/2, you get 5/12. And you comparing 1/3 to 5/12. 1/3 actually ends up being 4/12. So is 4/12 equal to 5/12? Obviously not. Is 5/12 greater? Yes, it is. Is 5/12 smaller? No, it is not. Okay. Same thing. For number 2, it's literally the same equation, only this time instead of evaluating for 1/2, we are evaluating for 3/4. So we take this x, we make it 3/4. We have 2/3 times 3/4. That becomes 1/2 because it's 2 times 3, which is 6, 3 times 4, which is 12. So it ends up being 6/12, which would reduce to 1/2. Now we take that 3/4 again, right? Stick it in for this x, right? 1/3 times 3/4 is equal to okay, got interrupted there. So once again, we have 2/3. I'm sorry, 3/4 times 1/3, which then equals 1/2. Right, so is 1/2 equal to 1/2? Yes. Is 1/2 greater than 1/2? No. Is 1/2 greater less than 1/2? No. So yes, no, no. Now, finally we do the same thing. This time we're just evaluating for 2. We multiply 2/3 by 2. Get 4/3, multiply 2/3 by 1/3. You get, and then add 1/4, and you get 11/12. You can turn this into 16/12, right? And 16/12 is obviously no, not equal, no, not greater than, yes. It's less than, 16/12 is greater than 11/12. Okay. Okay. Solve the equation by thinking about what variable x will make the sides equal. So you have 21 plus 94. They've done you a big kindness here by figuring this is 3. So all you have to do is make 3 equal to 21. And there's a number of ways that we could have gone about that, but that's the most straightforward. The other thing that we could have done is said 3x plus 94 is equal to 21 plus 94. 21 and 94 is 115. So now we have 3 times x is equal to plus 94 is equal to 115. If we subtract 94 from both sides of this equation, we're left with 3x equals 115. I'm sorry, 3x equals 21. Then we divide both sides by 3. X is equal to 7, which is what we came up with. Similar process, they use the distributive property. You get 7x minus 19 is equal to 7 times 3. Now you could go through the trouble of multiplying 7x and 719, the whole thing. But in the end, x has to be 22 in order for this statement to be correct. Okay. Last one, 144/5 divided by 5 equals x plus 8 divided by 5. So basically since they're both divided by 5, right, we could multiply by 5 on both sides. And then we just have to make 145 equal to x plus 8. So 137 plus 8 is equal to 145. Okay, and if it's 22 glass figures onto 4 glass shelves, how many does you need to fit 77 glass figures? Right, you double it up, it would be 44. You triple it up, it would be 12 and 66. Right, for that same ratio. Obviously we can't double up again because that's going to shoot us past 77. So if we just take the difference between 66 and 77, which is 11, right? 11 is half of this. So we take half of this, and we end up with 77 to 14 shelves. Okay. It says simplify. This is just really straight up multiplication. 315. Here we're subtracting decimals, subtracting multi-digit numbers. Here we're multiplying decimals. Here we're dividing by a decimal. Right, the trick to remember there is generally you take the decimal divisor, you make it a regular divisor, and then just adjust what you're dividing into accordingly. So I moved a decimal place over 1 here, so it moved over 1 here. Again, adding, making sure that you line up the decimal points. Right, so this 0.5 would be added to nothing. Again, division, you end up with a decimal answer. Subtraction, just lining up the decimal points. Addition, pretty much basic stuff. Here they're just asking you to translate into math. So 7 minus 5 is less than x. 7 minus 5 is 7 minus 5 less than x. Right? And any number greater than 2 solves that equation. So if you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, any one of those numbers, you're great. X is greater than or equal to u. I'm sorry, 8 is greater than or equal to u. Here's our 8. Greater than or equal to, making sure we put that line underneath to make sure that we know that it's equal to, and u. We're good. Any numbers 8 or less. So you can use 8 because it's greater than or equal to. H is greater than, here's our H, greater than 5 times 8, right? Any numbers greater than 40, because 5 times 8 is 40. P times 7 is less than or equal to, meaning we got to have this little line under here, 63. So for any number 9 or less, because 9 times 7 is equal to 63, so any number less than that will give you an answer less than 63. Okay. If you have questions about Stretch Your Thinking, come up and see me. Otherwise, that's the end of 5-15.